Born in 1788, Lord Byron was one of the leading figures of the Romantic movement in early 19th century England. He was known for his sexual escapades, and it was expressed by the beauty and brilliance of his writings. After leading an unconventional lifestyle and producing a massive amount of emotion-stirring literary works, Byron died at a young age in Greece pursuing romantic adventures of heroism.
Born George Gordon Noel Byron on January 22, 1788, Lord Byron was born into a rapidly fading aristocratic family. A clubfoot from birth left him self-conscious most of his life. As a young boy he endured a father who abandoned him, a schizophrenic mother, and a nurse who abused him. As a result, he lacked discipline and a sense of moderation, traits he held on to his entire life. In 1798, at age 10, George inherited the title of his great-uncle William Byron and was officially recognized as Lord Byron. 2 years later, he attended Harrow School in London, where he experienced his first sexual encounters with males and females. In 1803, Byron fell deeply in love with his distant cousin, and this unrequited passion found expression in several poems. From 1805 to 1808, Byron attended Trinity College, intermittently engaged in many sexual escapades, and fell deep into debt. During this time, he found diversion from school in partying with boxing, horse riding, and gambling. In June 1807, he formed an enduring friendship with John Cam Hobhouse and was initiated into liberal politics, joining the Cambridge Whig Club. After receiving a scathing review of his first volume of poetry, Hours of Idleness, in 1808, Byron retaliated with the satirical poem English Bards and Scotch Reviewers. The poem attacked the literary community with wit and satire and gained him his first literary recognition. Upon turning 21, Byron took his seat in the House of Lords. A year later, with John Hobhouse, he embarked on a grand tour through the Mediterranean Sea and began writing Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, a poem of a young man's reflection on travel in foreign lands. She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy days denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And on that cheek and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. Early travel and writing. In July 1811, Byron returned to London after the death of his mother, and in spite of all her failings, her passing plunged him into a deep mourning. High praise by London society pulled him out of his depression, as did a series of love affairs, first with a passionate and eccentric Lady Caroline Lamb, who described Byron as mad, bad, and dangerous to know, and then with Lady Oxford, who encouraged Byron's radicalism. Then, in the summer of 1813, Byron apparently entered into an intimate relationship with his half-sister. The guilt he experienced as a result of these love affairs were reflected in a series of dark and repentant poems. In September 1814, seeking to escape the pressure of his amorous entanglements, Byron proposed to the educated and intellectual Anna Isabel Milbank, also known as Annabella Milbank. They married in January 1815, and in December of that year their daughter Augusta Ada, better known as Ada Lovelace, was born. However, by January the ill-fated union crumbled, and Annabella left Byron amid his drinking, increased debt, and rumors of his relations with his half-sister and of his bisexuality. He never saw his wife or daughter again. Travels and Drama. In April 1816, Byron left England never to return. He traveled to Geneva in Switzerland, befriending Percy Shelley, his wife, and her stepsister Claire Clement. While in Geneva, Byron wrote the third canto to Childe Harold, depicting his travels from Belgium up the Rhine to Switzerland. On a trip to the Bernese Oberland, Byron was inspired to write the poetic drama Manfred. By the end of that summer, the Shelleys departed for England, where Claire gave birth to Byron's daughter Allegra in January 1817. In October 1816, Byron and Hobhouse sailed for Italy. Along the way, he continued his lustful ways with several women and portrayed these experiences in his greatest poem, Don Juan. The poem was a witty and satirical change from the melancholy of Childe Harold and revealed other sides of Byron's personality. He would go on to write 16 cantos before his death and leave the poem unfinished. By 1818, Byron's life of debauchery had aged him well beyond his 30 years. He then met 19-year-old Teresa Giucioli, a married countess. The pair were immediately attracted to each other and carried on an unconsummated relationship until she separated from her husband. Byron soon won the admiration of Teresa's father, who had him initiated into the secret Carbonari Society dedicated to freeing Italy from Austrian rule. Between 1821 and 1822, Byron edited the Society's short-lived newspaper, The Liberal. Heroic Adventure. In 1823, a restless Byron accepted an invitation to support Greek independence from the Ottoman Empire. Byron spent 4,000 pounds of his own money to refit the Greek naval fleet and took personal command of a Greek unit of elite fighters. On February 15, 1824, he fell ill. Doctors bled him, which made his condition even worse, and likely gave him an infection. Last day. Byron died on April 18, 1824 at age 36. He was deeply mourned in England and became a hero in Greece. His body was brought back to England, but the clergy refused to bury him at Westminster Abbey, as was the custom for individuals of great stature. Instead, he was buried in the family vault near Newstead. In 1969, a memorial to Byron was finally placed on the floor of the Westminster Abbey.